Hi everyone, my name's Tony Fitzgerald. I'm a ranger with Parks Victoria and I'm going to take you for a mindfulness walk for the next 15 to 20 minutes along the Stuart-Judd track. Before we get started, let's get into our body, because our body is how we lock into the present. Our mind is often telling us about what we may have done in the past or what we might be doing in the future. So for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll be taking you through some techniques and exercises in being present. And let's do it right now with our body here. You can just rock with your heel to toe, just moving slightly forward and back. And you might be wearing shoes. You can feel the soles of your shoes beneath your feet. You can feel the ground. Feel the solidness of the ground below you. You might even want to do a twist or a light sway. The main thing is we're being present to here and now, our bodies, how we're feeling. So while we're in this place of presentness, it's good to be aware and acknowledge the people that have walked this country before us for millennia, the Wurundjeri. They have walked this country, they were born here, they died, they performed ceremony. So let's be mindful that they walked this country and cared for it. The elders that led their people both in the past and as they do now in the present and in the future. So it's a good, respectful attitude we'll have during our walk. What I would ask once we set off is to only notice and allow. They're probably the two words. I might come back to that during the walk. So it's just noticing and allowing things to be. We'll talk more about that as we go. As we're entering the forest here, we'll aim to do this walk in as much silence as possible. It assists with being mindful. You're not having conversations going on around that can pull you this way and that. So if you need to speak, by all means, especially if it's an issue of importance, but we'll aim to do it in silence. So what I'd like to do first is to do some mindful walking. This will be just a couple of minutes. I've seen this technique described as fox walking. I've seen it described as a Buddhist walking meditation. We'll just call it a mindful walk in the bush for today. The technique, or the method, is just to take one step forward and just feel the heel contacting the earth, and feel the roll of the side of the foot and then the toes completing the step. And then coming through with the next leg, heel, side of the foot and toes. The most important bit is you take a breath, and we'll do it again. Heel, side of the foot, toes. Breathe. Heel, side of the foot, toes. Get the idea? So let's do this for about the next 10 metres down there, and we'll see how we go. This is a really good exercise for noticing what your thoughts are doing. We've given ourselves a task of being aware of our steps, each step, and then how long does it take before you're thinking about the past, the future, anything else but what you're stepping, what you're doing. The real trick here is just allow. That is what is going to happen. That's the way our minds are. Just bring back your attention to where you are in the present. The last thing we want to do is to beat ourselves up. Oh no, I'm not doing this correctly. It's just noticing, I need to come back to my step. I need to come back to my step. And just do that as easily as possible. one advice I was given was to do it with smiling eyes, so you can have a play with that. But yeah, just it will happen. You'll drift off, you'll drift back. You may notice also you start hearing things. The reason why American Indians refer to this practice as fox walking is because that's what foxes do when they're stalking a prey. If you ever want to move quietly through a forest, that's how you do it. And one other just point of interest really is by taking our steps and being mindful with each step, that's what we're doing. We're not thinking about where we're going, when's this going to end, how far are we going to go. We do enough of that in our everyday lives. So this is all about, this is the difference, is we're stepping one step at a time. And the magic of it is the world comes alive once we slow down and quieten down. That's when you'll be aware of birds that are in the undergrowth that you didn't notice. That's when you'll be aware of the wind tossing the canopies of these trees around. So it's a beautiful exercise. I hope you enjoy it. So now we've completed our first section of our mindful walk. From here, we'll be sort of walking more normally, but again, I want you to notice and allow. It's really interesting once we finish the mindful walk, just notice how your gait changes. All of a sudden you're walking to get somewhere, to get to the next thing. So just notice that and notice the difference between the mindful walk where you just are taking a step after another step, and then once you say, well, I'm done with that, we're going to walk normally. Because there's an end point, you start moving in a different way. So notice that. That's just something that's worth taking note of. And allow. That's okay. So with that, we're going to continue down into one of my favourite parts of this walk. This is the Fern Gully. So let's have a look what goes on there. Sometimes on a mindfulness walk, I'll bring down a pencil and pad to sketch or to write. And in a place like this is just gorgeous in terms of the visual textures, I suppose. We've got lots of these skinny, regrowing eucalypts, slender and bending, and the texture of the tree ferns that are around us. These really old tree ferns that are quite rough. And this beautiful bed, this layer of ferns below us. It's a real feast for the eyes. So yeah, that can be a useful thing to do, is to have a sketch while you're down here. One thing you'll notice about mindfulness walks, which is what keeps me coming back all the time, is exactly that. You notice so many things that you could walk this walk with friends and talking and chatting and have a lovely time, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But when you do walk quietly and mindfully, things leap out at you. Nature just feels like it's waiting for you. You'll notice things that catch your eye or catch your ear. It might be the sound of an animal scurrying around in the undergrowth that you just wouldn't normally hear or pay attention to. Walking along here now, my eye's just drawn to this tree here, this mountain ash that's 11 years old, that's growing up trying to make it into the light, competing with all its others. And what's that fine dust on the trunk there? You can just see It's not just on the trunk, it's all around here. It's almost like shavings. And the spider's webs are catching it. It's everywhere. And then you follow up the trunk. Ah, look. There's a wound there. It's been wounded. There's sap. There's probably insects or larvae in there that are chewing through the wood, and this is the frass, some people call it. So I would not noticed that before. And that's the cool thing about mindfulness walks, you just notice stuff. So again, we'll just connect back with our body, this place. Feel the track underneath us, how you're feeling. And just take your attention to the sounds around us. Maybe just the immediate ones around your body. And now let's push our hearing out to this little valley in front of us. And just allow the sounds to wash over. See if you can hear textures in the sound, in the same way as your eyes might find textures in what you see. Some sounds are very soft and rounded, and others are sharp. Sort of feel with your hearing the texture of the sound that's going on right now. Allow yourself to be bathed in the sea of sound that's all around us. Now bring your hearing back towards your body. Can you hear your breath in and out? And now we'll continue on. We're coming to the end of our mindfulness walk now. We're not far from the car park. I'd like to recap what we've done on our mindfulness walk. At the start, we walked really slowly. We paid attention to what we were noticing and allowing that. We had our mindfulness walk method. We listened, allowed sounds of the forest to wash over us. We connected with our body and what we were feeling and this place. So hopefully right now you're feeling calmer, maybe a bit more peaceful, a bit more relaxed maybe. And what I'd like to say now before we go back and get back into our normal lives, you can recreate this feeling at any time. It could be at a local park near where you live. You could be washing the dishes. You could be having a conversation with a family member. That feeling of being present in that moment and allowing sounds or whatever it is you're doing, being mindful about what you're doing, can be done anywhere. So if you enjoyed this mindful walk, check out the Parks Victoria website under guided walks, and you'll be able to find out where guided walks are happening across the state. It'd be great to see you out here. Thanks very much for coming along.